first, I might sound a little bit different. We've upgraded the rig finally, and I'm using a big fancy new microphone, so let me know how it sounds. Secondly, as you know, we recently started a sort of deck building series on the channel where we try to build a deck using only one kind of product. Last one we did was for Legendary Duelist's Magical Hero, where we pretty much played Dark Magician without Dark Magician, and you guys seem to really enjoy it, so we're going to try and streamline the structure of these videos and make it a proper series. That brings me to today's episode, which is actually extra special because it's exclusive content. Thanks to Konami, we're getting and revealing the first look at the Shaddoll Showdown structure deck. We're going to see what kind of deck we can build out of 3 copies of this deck, and typically in this kind of video we would take it to locals and, you know, play against some other people, but it doesn't officially release until February 13th, and obviously I can't play with illegal cards, so that's going to have to be a part 2. For now though, let's go crack them open. Alright, I hope you're excited for this, because I know I am. The list in OCG is absolutely incredible. I could just show you the back, but I'm not going to, because that would kind of ruin the video, I guess. I will say, however, that judging by the list of cards inside, even regardless of rarity, it's definitely really good value for money. So this is the paper mat that's included, obviously with the alternate art construct and window. Very nice. But you're not here for the mat, you're here for the cards. So let's de-sleeve this bad boy and see what's inside. A little bit of fluff at the back here. We've got a QR code for a beginner's guide here. Nothing on the other side, so we'll just get rid of that. And then we have a Duel Links card, so get rid of that too, and on to the juice. Now something that really stands out with this deck is the number of hollows. You get so many, it's ridiculous, and it's the same price as a normal structure deck. So starting off with the Ultra Grista, we go into Ultra Shaddoll Apcalone, which is new. It's got an imperm-like effect on summon and can't be destroyed by battle. The final ultra rare is Alternate Art Construct, which looks gorgeous. She's definitely the mommy of the deck. Onto the supers, one of the new ones is Qadshaddoll Keios. His flip effect is to special a Shaddoll from hand, and his Sent to Grave effect is you pitch a Shaddoll and then all the monsters on your field gain attack by the level times 100. Next up we have Baby Winda, Reeshaddoll Wendi. Ree's in the chat, boys. She's actually really good, so her flip effect is to special a Shaddoll from deck, and then her Sent to Grave effect is also to special a Shaddoll from deck. Then we have Naelshaddoll Ariel, whose effect is a little bit lackluster. Her flip effect is to special a banished Shaddoll, and then her Sent to Grave effect is to banish 3 cards from your graveyard. Oh, we got a new trap as well, Reeshaddoll Incarnation. So it specials a Shaddoll from graveyard, and then you can banish it along with another Shaddoll from your graveyard to just flip a monster you control. It's not terrible, but you can only use one of the effects per turn, so it's not amazing either. Winda also coming in as a super rare. The alternate art looks really, really nice. Then we have a Super Shaddoll Zefranaga. This card was actually getting really expensive. I think the ulti still is probably expensive, but that definitely needed a reprint. And Shaddoll Fusion as a super. I really didn't expect that. I thought it would have been a common, honestly. But do you see what I mean when I say there's so many hollows? That's 10 hollows in total. You normally get like 5 or something. Before we do move on to the commons, I'm just going to tidy this up a bit. Right, so for the rest of the main deck here, we have a Shaddoll Falco, Shaddoll Hedgehog, pretty much just all the main deck monsters here. Shaddoll Squamata, which is for deck thinning, 1800 attack as well, really nice. Shaddoll Dragon, pop a back row, 1900 attack, big beat stick. Shaddoll Beast, which is one of the best ones. We draw a card if it's sent to the grave by card effect. Shaddoll Hound, it's not amazing, changes the battle position of a monster. The pendulums here as well, we have Shaddoll Zefranaga. I don't think we use these. And Shaddoll Zefracore as well. I think these are more for like a pendulum build, honestly. BLS is something I'm really excited about. He doesn't see as much play anymore, but he's still a really strong card, and I just love the fact that a card from Invasion of Chaos, literally one of the first sets, is still very powerful today. Lava Golem, of course, good for breaking boards, as long as we can remove it after we give it to the opponent. And Dark Dragon, we got a deck daddy as well. We actually do have graveyard manipulation with Ariel from before, so that could get played. And of course, in place of Fairy Tale Snow here, we have Sleeper. I'd say it's a solid replacement. It's not quite as good as Snow, but she's still a good card. And we have Trick Clown as well, which is pretty much a staple in Shaddoll decks. Armageddon Knight, sending a Shaddoll from deck to graveyard. Very nice. Obviously still limited, so we're only actually going to need one, followed by Felis Lightsworn Archer. I'm not actually sure how we get this out because it has to be sent from deck to grave by monster effect, and we don't really have anything that does that. I could be wrong, we'll see. We have Electromagnetic Turtle as well, and Mathematician, which I guess could trigger Felis, but there's better options, and Kuribandit as well. Being able to excavate 5 in a Shaddoll deck sounds like it could be really good. We also have a Peropero Cerperus, which could be handy to pop a card on the field. And onto the spells. Curse of the Shadow Prison field spell. So it gains a counter every time you send a Shaddoll monster from deck to grave, and if you have 3 or more counters, you can remove 3 and use one of your opponent's monsters as material for a fusion summon. It sounds cool, but I think it might be a little bit too slow. I don't know, I guess we'll have to play test and see. Shaddoll Fusion, the quick play fusion spell. This will work as like a interruption on the opponent's turn with the new boss monster. Shaddoll Fusion, the equip card, basically just changes the attribute of one of your monsters. It also works as a fusion spell, so we have plenty of those. And Super Poly as well, as a common. You really have no excuse to not have this card anymore because it's got so many print-ins recently. Instant Fusion as well. I know a lot of people were hoping that we got this one, and we did. And Allure of Darkness. This always seems to go up in value regardless of how many times it gets printed. Lovely Foolish Burial reprint, that'll be very important to the deck. And Living Fossil as well, that's nice. It's second ever printing after Battles of Legend. And up next we have Pot of Avarice, which coincides with the ban list limiting it, keeping it accessible, which is nice. And we have another Twin Twisters printing, so this replaces Feather Duster. Good choice, it kind of does the same thing, but onto the traps we have a Shaddoll Core, followed by Sinister Shadow Games. This has a pretty solid effect. Obviously we'd have to go first though to use it because it is a trap, and Shaddolls don't typically want to go first in my experience. To be fair though, the Shaddoll meta was before I actually came into the game, so there might be some things going on that I don't really know. But yeah, we got Lost Wind printing, which is really nice, and Unending Nightmare. Necrofusion would be nice if we had a Link monster to set up a Link arrow, and Subterror Succession it's a semi-decent searcher. But that appears to be it for the main deck. We do have a couple extra deck monsters here. We have Shaddoll Wendigo and Shaddoll Anoyatilis. And then finally we have the Link monster Shaddoll Construct, which has terrible arrows. We can't use those. This would be so much better if we had the new Master Rule revision, because I really don't know what we're going to do with no Link monsters. We have to just rely on one fusion monster at a time. This is going to be interesting. Let's go see what we can do. Okay, so when it comes to building the deck, there's 2 different ways we can go about this, 2 different win conditions. Since we have no Link monsters, we're pretty much locked to relying on one fusion at any given time. So because of this, I'm kind of tempted to make like a trap heavy going first build that just turbos out Winda. The problem is that this loses to Impermanence or Pancratops, and Lightning Storm being released really doesn't help the trap lineup either. So for those reasons, and the fact that we have such powerful board breaking cards, we're going to go second. Okay, so here I've completed our first draft of a 40 card go second deck, and I've even got a side deck as well, 15 cards in the side. But do keep in mind this is a first draft and I've never actually played pure Shaddolls before, so this is all kind of new to me. I'm sure you'll let me know if there's any massive mistakes, but with the Shaddoll lineup we have 3 Beast, 2 Dragon, 2 Squamata, 2 Falco, 2 Hedgehog, and 2 Reeshaddoll. It's quite a large package, and for monsters that really don't do too much on their own, it might seem a little bit bricky, but you turbo through these so quickly that you do need quite a lot. Near enough all of them are dark as well, so it makes Allure playable. But yeah, moving on, we have our 3 normal summons, 2 Mathematician and 1 Armageddon Knight, because Armageddon Knight pretty much does the same thing as Mathematician, and him being a dark is quite nice as well. Light monsters to send for Construct, we have Turtle and Trick Clown. I think Turtle's actually better for us than Trick Clown because we can't capitalize off the extra body. Then 2 Big Boy BLS as well, one of my favorite cards in the deck, he's just so cool. 2 Lava Golem, obviously for breaking boards. It does lock us out of our normal summon, so we have to keep that in mind. And onto the spells. So obvious heart and soul of the deck, we have 3 Shaddoll Fusion, and because we are a pure Shaddoll deck, we have 3 of the quick play as well. Most of the time we're going to be fusing a fusion monster with this, just so we can push for extra damage in the battle phase. Then 1 Nephe Shaddoll Fusion, because attribute matters a little bit more with all the new cards. Next up, we have 3 Super Poly. I was considering putting this down to 2, because we don't actually have super poly targets other than Shaddoll monsters, so we're not really breaking boards. 3 Allure of Darkness for draw power. We do have a lot of darks in the deck, so most of the time it should resolve. We have 2 instant fusion as well. Summoning Wendi for free basically is quite nice. A Foolish, Pot of Avarice, and Shaddoll Core. And that is 40 cards in the main deck. Believe it or not, I actually struggled to keep this at 40. I kept going over because there were so many different things I wanted to put in. So ratios may be tweaked before part 2. We'll see, we'll see. But for now, I will show you the side deck. It's pretty basic, honestly. We have 3 Sinister Shadow games. Set that up with Wendi and a bunch of set monsters and you're good to go. 3 Lost Wind, 3 Twin Twisters. I've considered putting that in the main, but I don't know. 3 Unending Nightmare, 2 Subterra Succession, and 1 Necrofusion. These are kind of like wild cards, but they're alright for going first, I suppose. So obviously the idea here is that if my opponent makes me go first, I swap into my win condition of just turboing Wendi and setting a bunch of traps. The extra deck is pretty simple, 3 Construct, 3 Wendi, and then 1 to 2 of the rest of the Shaddolls. So yeah, that's the deck as of right now. If you have any changes you would recommend, then feel free to let me know in the comments, because part 2 is going to be at least 2 weeks away. So if this is your first time viewing the channel and you are interested to see how we perform with this deck, then subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when it comes out. A big thank you once again to Konami for providing me with this opportunity to present to you exclusive content. And finally, a big thank you also to you watching this video for supporting me in the first place. Literally, this video would not be going up right now if it wasn't for you, and I appreciate that so much, so thank you. Be sure to smash the like button on your way out, and I will see you in the next episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! From Scratch.
To slow down, fireplace to